Welcome to The Edge is a Lie. This is something I've been thinking about making a full-fledged video on my YouTube channel about, and I may do that if people like this enough itself. But I have this strong suspicion that the edge is a lie. Now, this does not mean that I think that it's bad in all cases, but I think there's a big player that has been pushing us engineers to do something what I call hype-driven development, and that is cloud marketing teams. It's also HDD, or hype-driven development. Hype-driven development is where something is taken, something solved a very niche thing for somebody really, really well, and then it is pushed on you as the thing that you need to do. And that is what I think the edge has become. Everybody has, in the last year, pushed some edge things to enable you to move to the edge. But in many cases, I think moving to the edge would actually hurt your architecture. Let's look at a drawing. This is a pretty standard thing. A user makes a request across the web, and the web takes time. The web takes time. You could be far away from where the servers are. And so this is 75 milliseconds of wasted time. It's just wasted. And you go all the way out to the service, and then this service can make a bunch of calls to the database. It gets a call and it says, okay, well, you need to get this thing from a service. So this could actually be to the database. This could actually be a call to another service that is sitting over here. So this is another service that it has to get information from. This could be GraphQL. This service back here could be GraphQL pulling a lot of data from a lot of different places. Okay? So when you look at this, and each one of these is 5 milliseconds, we have 75. So we have 80 milliseconds, 85, 90, 95 milliseconds, roughly 100 milliseconds. Before we can return to the user. And then we have another 75 milliseconds. So we're at 175 milliseconds, just under our 200 millisecond requirement. Okay, cool. We want to make this faster for the user. So the thought and the marketing ploy is to move it to the edge. And that looks like this. If you take the same architecture, it looks like this. Now, we could calculate that if you'd like, where the user makes a nice request to your service, and it makes a lot of calls to this database. The fact is, your database doesn't get pushed out to the edge in most of these. Your database is somewhere in some region. So, should we calculate this? 75, 150, so 150 for a round trip. So that would make this 300, and that would make this 450 plus 10. We'll leave that off, just 450. Now, a lot of you guys are going to say, but Merrick, you could always push your database to the edge. You absolutely can do that. Where is that edge? Where is that edge? That's right, it's wherever the user is. So this now means that you have to replicate this database wherever the user is. Because if you haven't, you're now in a bad spot. And this also means that you have to re-architect your entire way the app works. You have to re-architect the entire way the app works. So for your application to leverage this, there has to be a lot of work done. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about where the edge is naturally awesome. Content distribution. So CDNs are an excellent example of being awesome. And this is 100% an edge network case. You can point to this and say, yeah, it's static. The content doesn't change a whole lot. And because of that, CDNs are actually a really good place for this. It's just a cache that's distributed to the edge. Awesome. Cloud provider pocketbooks. This is another great example of a place where the edge is awesome. It has given a great boon to sell you something new. Latency sensitive applications. Okay? Think game servers. The edge is fantastic for these. These are places where you almost get it for free. All of the complexity doesn't happen. Now, let's say you're not one of these and you want to make the edge work because you really want to provide that performance. Well, there's some steps that you're going to have to do to make it awesome. The first thing is distribute your database to the edge. That's the first thing that you're going to have to do. And basically, if that user takes a trip to California, you've got to migrate their database to that edge while they're in California. I'm on the East Coast. Or else your app is going to run very badly, very bad, much worse than it would normally run. So the con stat is it's a lot of work. It's expensive. You're actually replicating their stuff all over the place. You have network costs, and you have, I'll get to questions in the chat as soon as I'm done. I am recording this for YouTube. And it's very expensive as you're replicating data more places. And it can be slow when the user travels. Lots of static content. We cover that in the CDN. If you have lots of static content, this is easy. You are distributing your database, but it's not being updated by the user. It's a lot of static things. It's very good for that. Another good place that the edge actually has something is ingest. This is one that people don't talk about, I think, enough. But think of validation, mutation, or anything like that, where you don't have to do anything with a database, but you're doing work on incoming requests. The other thing with ingest is you can get it on your network faster. So you can get it straight from the user, and you can get it on maybe a private network where you have dedicated bandwidth. So you can actually get it to your central servers faster than if it traveled through the public internet. So you can use something like Cloudflare for this private network bandwidth. Now you're going to pay for it, but you can use it for that. Think transcoding of this stream. You could actually have that hit an edge network and be getting to your servers already in the format that you want. So you can have this ingestion pipeline. The edge is really great for that. Geo-replication is also a really great a place for it. Graph is another place. I don't think I've ever seen somebody do this, but I have theorized that this is a beautiful example of the edge. What if, you know how Graph has this problem of having this funky, the users can make a request. I've covered this quite a few times. What if we make an edge node here that has a REST API and it uses GraphQL because it's safe and secure? You still have churn here on this edge endpoint here. This is interesting to me, but this could do authorization. It could do authorization and getting it onto your network and do GraphQL back here. And we have this nice, tidy pipeline. This is something I've never seen, but I've theorized it could work and could be really useful when you're wanting to do this GraphQL type of thing. Have this as your endpoint into the graph network. I don't know. It might be terrible too. This is just me theorizing. That's a bonus one there for you. And then we have computation heavy stuff. We kind of talked about this with like the transcoding. But if you have stuff that is really computation heavy and light on the database access. So if you're talking about maybe you have a call that doesn't have any database requests, or it only has one, but it has a ton of computation at the edge. This would be really good. Think about like ML serving. So if you were serving machine learning, so serving some ML, the models have already been trained with all your stuff back here. This ML could sit at the edge and be much faster to respond to your users. So this is another great place of the edge because it doesn't need to make back-end requests. All right. that's it. That's The Edge is a Lie. I hope you guys liked it. I know that's a little bit clickbait of The Edge is a Lie because it's not a lie. But I do think that there's a lot of people trying to use the Edge, and I have seen people that try to use it that turns out to not work as quickly as the original app. When you design something for the Edge, you have to design it for the Edge. If not, you get this, and this runs worse than this. Thank you. My name is Merrick Counts. Join us on Twitch, and I hope you guys are enjoying this.